You're listening to Your Purpose and Business podcast, where we connect you to possibilities. I'm your host, Raquel Walters, a two-time best-selling author, millennial speaker, corporate trainer, advocate, and clinical social worker at heart. Your Purpose and Business podcast will connect you with everyday successful people who will share their impactful stories, insights, challenges, failures, and triumphs on how they're navigating the working world, whether by climbing the 9-to-5 corporate ladder or starting, growing, and scaling their business. So grab your pen and notebook because you'll want to implement the nuggets and tools, strategies shared in every episode. Class is in session. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Your Purpose and Business podcast. My name is Raquel Walters, and I have the honor and the pleasure to introduce you all to Caleb Kauffman. And he's here with us to share his life story, his journey into venturing into his businesses, and overall what his purpose is that he feels he has here in this world, right? So Caleb Kauffman is a human being who approaches situations and relationships with love. Caleb began his entrepreneur journey in 2015, starting with Green, which he founded his family, wife, sister-in-law, after being diagnosed with PTSD from childhood sexual trauma later in life. Around the same time of starting Pennies, Caleb began the process of self-healing. 4 years later, in 2019, after experiencing the positive benefits of cannabis on his own growth, Caleb founded Lancashire Hemp Farms. The operation started in a very DIY setting, including growing his first CBD plants at his mother-in-law's greenhouse to labeling and distributing products from the basement. In 2020, Lancashire partnered with 15 local farmers to bring co-op mindset to the growing process. And since then, Lancashire has expanded to a mainstay in the local hemp community as a common retail store shelf item throughout the country. Throughout both projects, Caleb has maintained the same mindset that he brings to his conversation: understanding, togetherness, and the want for everyone to have their voice heard. It is a pleasure to have you on the show, Mr. Kaufman. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Man, it was really cool, almost getting emotional hearing somebody else read that out loud in that perspective. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're very welcome. Awesome. You have a very rich bio here. To me, I'm reading it. It has many faceted parts of it. Your life is entangled in this, as well as how you've birthed your business out of your life experience. Is that correct?
Yeah, very much so. Where I'm at right now is definitely a direct result, of my journey, which is still very active and, has its ups and downs, but overall has been, one of the most beautiful, intense experiences that I've had the pleasure of living.
Awesome. And Caleb, tell me, I always ask my guests this, tell me something about yourself that you would want to share with our audience that is not included in this beautiful bio.
Oh, okay. So we'll say, since I think this is a good space for it, I am someone that really is in tune with energies, vibrations, and definitely find a lot of safety and security in that space of, energies, vibrations, and crystals. So yes. I think that's something kind of fun and unique that, maybe doesn't get put out as publicly because perceptions of that can always be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very true. But I love that because everything is energy, right? Everything is energy. So Caleb, in diving deeper, tell me, what do you think it is the purpose that you have in this world currently? And I know that's a large question.
It is, but I think right now, I've had a really crazy couple of months, just a lot of, honestly, just kind of traumatic events happening, just lots of ups and downs, and so is the world. So we're all experiencing our version of that. So for me right now, through that kind of intense last couple of months, it just has reminded me really why I'm here is just to be the truest, purest form of myself, and allow the universe to speak through me. And that has led me into kind of, leading the way in cannabis to help create a space for everybody and hopefully evolve, the current laws that we live under, which are definitely way outdated and need to be reformed.
Right. Definitely. And if I should ask you, if you could take us on a summarized journey of what led you into this purpose, because, in reading your bio, you spoke about, how you have been dealing with or have dealt with, past traumas of PTSD and being sexually abused as a child, and maybe there's other things that you would want to share. How has that played into, you being a business owner now of a hemp farm, pretty much?
Yeah, no, it's great. And I love to share that story because that is really what it's why I'm getting up every day. It's why I'm here. It is the purpose. It's the purpose of Lancashire. And it does all come out of my, very personal story that I enjoy being vulnerable about, because I think there's not enough people being honest and vulnerable, because that can be scary. People don't like to talk about sexual abuse, especially, being a male person. That can be even more, kind of traumatic and kind of looked down upon of, just toughen up, don't talk about your feelings. And I guess, my kind of inspiration was let's just change that perspective. So as I started to experience the benefits of CBD, as I was journeying through counseling, I just immediately was like, this is so life-changing and beneficial that I need to share this with the world. And that's really, where birthing Lancashire came from, was that desire to help bring change now.
Right. I love it. And so, throughout your experience and throughout going to counseling, you have used CBD, hemp to assist you on, alleviating, probably some of that anxiety or that trauma, or, if you could just walk us through a little bit of about what that looks like, because I think that, even though it is not popular, in society for men to speak up about their past traumas, whatever that looks like for you personally, if you could just walk us through what that trauma looked like for you, what symptoms you experienced, and how CBD has helped you throughout that process that you've been through.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, it was, it's been a unique journey. So I didn't remember that I was sexually abused until my late 20s, which was like well over 20 years later, kind of making this connection. And, it was, what do you do with that? I remember just kind of the dots clicking and being like, oh my gosh, that happened. And, for honestly, maybe a year or two, I think I was so just not even sure what to do with that information. I just kind of internally struggled on a subconscious level. So what happened with me is, because of my trauma, I experienced extreme disassociation. So a lot of times I can be very robotic. I'm not, as attached to my body. Feeling emotions for me is hard because, what happened to me was when I experienced that trauma, there was that intense emotion. So my body and my brain likes to disassociate intense emotions because it connects it to trauma. So my healing path has been, I'm trying to reconnect with my emotions and also learn how to put words to them. I like to say I'm pretty much like emotionally probably the maturity of a 10-year-old. I have trouble putting thoughts and words to feelings and processing it. So cannabis is an amazing medicine for that because, when I use CBD and I also use THC, those combinations really help me connect with myself and ground me in the here and now. And yeah, I think that's kind of a really good way to put it.
Yeah, definitely. And I know the stigma in the past about, and probably still is present, obviously today, but it's about, educating persons about, the many benefits of CBD, THC. I mean, it all comes from the same hemp plant, right? And I think now there is more people that are, trying to seek alternative medicine outside of the usual
pharmaceutical companies, right? To help them alleviate what they're dealing with. So I'm happy that you were able to come across that medicine, so to speak, which it is a medicine to help you to deal or to manage with your symptoms. So thank you for sharing that. When it comes, yeah, you're very welcome. When it comes on to the Lancashire, I know that you founded with among other members of your family the ice cream store. Tell us a little bit, because the podcast it's about finding your purpose and business, of course, but also what would you say for you, how did that idea come up amongst you and your family about, okay, maybe it is that we need to create income streams or start building a business? And if you could share with us, where did that idea come from, and then if you could transition into the idea which is now birthed and is thriving of Lancashire. That makes sense?
Yeah, kind of where Lancashire came from.
Yeah.
What I guess it was just the passion that I had for the plant, experiencing the benefits. So I guess we'll say this is a good place. So, I started Penny's Ice Cream in 2015 with my wife, my sister-in-law, and my partner, Sarah. So it was the four of us. So we started that. And we started with a food truck, which was very just kind of a simple, fun idea that I had, where I was like, man, we could do hand dipped, locally served ice cream. We have a really cute truck. We do a lot of weddings, and it still exists and is growing and is doing good. But over the years, I wasn't finding that passion in that industry in ice cream. And then, once I realized my trauma and started going to counseling, and I experienced the benefits of cannabis, it like clicked immediately. I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. And so my entrepreneurial spirit immediately just started researching, like, okay, how can I grow this plant? What can I do? And, it was perfect timing, I believe, set up by the universe, because the Farm Bill Act happened in 2019, right in the year where I had, told everybody, I said, this is the last year I can be in Penny's. It's just not it wasn't good for my mental health. It just was becoming a space that wasn't positive for me. Even though it was a great business, I was just finding, to your point about purpose in business, it wasn't in ice cream. But I saw that it was going to be in cannabis. So I started researching, how can I get into this? And so when the Farm Bill came, like probably 6 months after I started researching, I was ready, got a permit, and immediately, bought a greenhouse and started growing, within probably 9 months of having experienced my first, CBD tincture. So it was definitely something I feel is meant to be. I meant, to be here to share this medicine with the world and share my story with the world and help people feel safe, to feel heard, and for everyone to have a voice.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. And what an awareness at the time when you recognize that, your passion or your purpose wasn't necessarily in the ice cream business anymore, even though that's still there and thriving, but to also, have the courage to say to your business partners that, okay, this is not where it is anymore. Maybe that doesn't mean that you're not involved in some capacity, but that you're going to go out and pursue building out the Lancashire hemp farms and producing CBD and THC products to serve the masses. That is huge. What was that process for you like? Was it easy to do? Was it hard? Or did you have to like spend days or months thinking about it? Like, what was that? What did that look like?
It was, I guess, would have been 2018 was probably the worst year of my life. It was the last year that I worked in Penny's. It was the year that I started going to, counseling and doing very intense work on my trauma. So obviously I was digging up a lot, experiencing a lot of emotions. And then again, being in Penny's was turning into this space that wasn't, just positive for me. And, my partner and business partners were able to see that. And I was just very honest with them, just like, this needs to be the last year. And, everybody else kind of saw it as well in a positive way. It was a good conversation in the sense of like, they knew that my time in Penny's kind of had passed. My giftings really are, being an entrepreneur, creating things, taking visions and manifesting them in reality. That's what I'm good at. So they were seeing that, and Penny's was at a place where that's not what it needed. It had been running for 5 years. You don't need an entrepreneur. You need more of somebody that understands the day-to-day, nuts and bolts of a business. That's not what I'm good at. And we all kind of saw that together at the same time. And so it did make the transition easier. I actually started growing. Basically, I had to do it as a hobby because, I wasn't able to immediately make income. So I just, I went out and got a job, was working, kind of your 9 to 5 job. And then in the evenings, I would go down to the farm, tend to the hemp plants, and, had that very much kind of start up in your basement. Lancashire for the first year was just me alone growing, starting the retail brand, and, everything's my basement, bottling things by myself, shipping them. And, from there, it grew pretty rapidly in the coming years.
Right. I love it. And I love that you touch on the point that, at some point, you had to build this thing out from the ground up because, a lot of our audience, they're millennials and for some reason, millennials feel as if, we're living in a microwave society. And, some parts, on social media, it looks like it's true, but, creating and owning and operating a business, it takes time. And sometimes you start out alone, and you said in your first year you were by yourself building out this new brand, this new business, and eventually able to grow it by getting help. But so I'm happy that you share that and your process, working a 9 to 5 and then in the evenings or probably on the weekends as well, building out your business.
Yep.
Khalid, for you, I wanted to find out, were there any significant challenges that you faced along the way in building out Lancashire? Were there some failures that you, or lessons rather, that you wanted to share with anyone that's listening, that's thinking of starting their own business? Maybe they've started, but maybe, there's hiccup as, that's business and they're giving up, hope. Is there any lessons that you could tell them, and also hope of inspiration to continue?
Yeah, it's definitely tough starting a business because, you're trying to take something that you're creating in your mind and you're manifesting in reality. And, as that just takes some very practical hard work. You got to get your hands dirty. If you want to start something, you have to start it. You have to be the one. There's no paying somebody to do it. So it's, working those extra hours after work, and continuing to do that day in and day out. And then, if you're struggling because you're doing that and you're kind of, alone in a sense because you have the vision, you see the vision, but nobody else does. So that can be a trying time. So for me, I spent, again, a year kind of just doing that, trying to get on Instagram, building an online store, starting to promote that, that's pretty challenging. And, I definitely had those thoughts of like, is this even worth it? Is it going to take off? Especially in this CBD market right now where, there's 1,000 new CBD brands. How do I distinguish myself among an entire new industry that, everybody wants to get into? So yeah, it was definitely a struggle of, is this going to actually make it? Is it good enough? Is what I'm seeing going to happen? Can I make it happen? So if you're in that space and you're having those questions, I do encourage you, just dig deep, find the courage within and put in the hard work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love that. And, I know a little bit, not a lot about the CBD industry, but I do know that Forbes projected by year 2022 to be like a $20 billion industry. And now that, it's legal across all states in America, which is huge. And of course, separate from the money, the many benefits of CBD, THC to the body. helps with skin, with anxiety, helps with depression. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, I would just encourage everyone to look up the benefits and definitely go and check out Lancashire's website on the many CBD products. For you, Kelly, personally, have there been any strategies or steps that you have used personally, whether it is in your life or your business or businesses, to support you along your path? Is there anything that stands out for you?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm a very avid meditator. So I'm very ritualistic in a sense of, I think that's a combination of probably being, a trauma victim. For me, creating safety is very important. For me, that's not as much physical, but it's more emotional. For some people that may be a physical safety. For me, it's the emotions of, creating a safe space where I feel like I can use my voice, have courage to do that. So what I've done, to help myself is using meditation. And, we spoke about how I like to, talk about energies, vibrations, and crystals. Those things are very much a part of, those rituals of me putting value and importance on things intentionally to create safe spaces for myself. And that has been a lifesaver because it's a space that I can go to, I can recharge, I can feel safe. I was at a point where, I was so busy and things were just like so crazy with healing and just life, being a dad, being a husband. It was like, where is time for me? And I remember I got to a point where I was just like, enough is enough. If I can't take 10 minutes out of the day, go into my basement and meditate, like, what is the point? Like I got to be able to get to a place where I can, find that voice and, live. And that was a really big tool that I continue to use, almost religiously in a sense.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love that you use sacred space, creating sacred space, because I love to talk about that as well. And for the audience who don't really know what a sacred space is really anywhere that you can take some time out for yourself. It could be in your bedroom, for Kalibi said in his basement. It could be a walk in the park with you and yourself and your thoughts, and using things that will help fuel you up. So for Kalibi spoke about meditation, doing energy work. For some people, it could be yoga, exercise, whatever it is. We all need to take that time out to fuel our mental health so that we are healthy to continue to live out life and to do the things that we desire to do in this world, right? And so in shifting gears, Caleb, let us in on Lancashire, how you help your products. Tell us about, your catalog of products and items that you have.
Yeah, for sure. When I started Lancashire, I was thinking cannabis has a lot of stigmas. I come from a very conservative area. It's Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. We are, the highest, largest population of Amish in the United States. So, that's my background as well. My heritage, I didn't grow up Amish, but my grandmother, she died a Mennonite. My great grandparents would have been Amish. So it's definitely in my roots. So, for me, oh man, now I'm forgetting the question.
No, it's fine. I was asking you about Lancashire and the product catalog, and it's great that you're giving us the history that you have Lancashire, which is based in Pennsylvania, and so tying into your heritage and your culture, which is amazing. So continue.
Okay, so thank you for reminding me. So where I was going with that is I come from a space where people aren't going to be into smoking CBD hemp. And that's not the only way that you can experience the benefits. So when I started Lancashire, I was like, I want to be able to have products that fit everyone's lifestyle. So if you're not into smoking, that's fine. There's a tincture. If you don't like the tincture, there's gummies. It was whatever really fits a lifestyle. Just because I knew that this product was so beneficial that whatever your belief system was, I wanted to be able to find a space that you'd be able to use it comfortably, whether that's again via a capsule, a gummy. So that's kind of why I branched out into kind of a variety of products. So just kind of, for example, people that are, into cannabis that like to smoke, we grow a really high quality hand cared premium flower that is really, really great, especially if you're experiencing some, intense anxieties and you need some assistance now. You can, take a hit on your vape cartridge, you can smoke some flower and experience immediate relief. If that's something you're like, hey, I don't believe in smoking, that's not for me, we have other forms, again, gummies and capsules and tinctures. We also have topical salves, typically for elderly folk that are just like, hey, I don't want a gummy, I definitely don't want to smoke anything, but I've got killer arthritis. You can use a salve that's very good in a topical sense. So we've got a wide variety to fit your lifestyle and kind of what your needs are.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. And tell us how persons can get in contact with, purchasing from Lancashire. Share your website, your Instagram.
Yeah, so I think we're just at Lancashire Hemp on Instagram and Facebook, and then LancashireHemp.com is where you can find all the products we have to offer now. And then as well as if you're ever in the area locally, we don't have a storefront, but we like to partner with other stores. So we are in a lot of, local health and wellness or, head shops. And that's part of the mentality of the business motto as well is, I always say it's about sharing the pie. It's good to make money. Let's do it together and let's be kind about it. There's nothing wrong with that. So I like to partner with other local places because, again, share the wealth. Let's all, make some money together. So we partner with different local shops as well.
Awesome. That's amazing. And for Lancashire, do you ship worldwide?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know if I've ever had anyone order out of the United States yet, but I definitely would. I've shipped outside of the U.S. on a wholesale level, but I don't know if I've ever done, I don't think I've had anybody stumble across our site from Europe, but yeah, we definitely could.
Yeah, absolutely. And is there any last parting words that you would love to share with our audience about Lancashire or anything personally that's your personal mission in life?
Yeah, I guess maybe more from the personal of just saying, a lot of what fueled me and my healing or my journey of healing was to get myself to a space where I felt I had the courage to speak out publicly. So this is amazing. Thank you for this opportunity, to share my story, because the goal really at the end of the day for me is to be able to talk about sexual trauma. And, statistically, 1 in every 4 boys is molested and 1 in every 3 girls is molested. And to me, that's a tragic thing that as a society, we just don't even talk about. That's a pretty crazy statistic. So I would like to be a voice that helps change that in our society, in the world. So if you're listening and you've experienced some sort of a trauma, I just encourage you to have the courage to, get the help you need, create safe spaces for yourself, find people to heal with, whether that's a counselor, therapist, a partner, and, take the courage because it's well worth it. This journey for me has been so beautiful. And I couldn't imagine my life any other way, even though it's included, some very terrible experiences.
Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to say thank you again too for sharing this childhood experience. It's not easy to speak about, and I applaud you, especially as a male coming up to speak about it, which we already know the statistics shows that a lot of male don't speak on their past trauma or experiences that are negative. So thank you for being a voice, because by you stepping up and more, it will allow more people to step up and to share their stories, and in turn to help the next male on how it is that they can seek out and get help to assist them in managing and coping with their trauma. So thank you again for that. And as well, thank you for sharing Lancashire with us, because at the end of the day, I do believe in plant-based medicine as well. And I definitely know and have used CBD, and I know the benefits of it. And so I know that you will continue to help more people using your products. So with that being said, everyone, remember always to be good to yourself. Definitely go over and check out LancashireHemp.com. The details will be in the show notes. And always be good to yourself, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If you've loved this episode, let's stay in touch. Head over to RaquelWalters.com and subscribe to my email list so that I can send you updates on new episodes, exclusive motivational nuggets, and insider knowledge that's only shared when you join our community. Please don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and leave a review, as I want to know your thoughts about every episode. Follow me on Instagram at Your Purpose and Business Podcast. And remember, your life is beautiful, and this is a part of your journey. So embrace it. Speak to you soon.